Hi, Lynn Tucker Carnivore here again, and two updates. The first one doesn't have anything to do with my thumbnail, but that was cute, wasn't it? Okay, now that you're here. The update on the eye doctor. Well, things didn't get any worse, but, well, it did in one category. The cataract got a little bit worse in this eye, my right one. So he told me my left eye was actually pulling more of its weight in trying to balance things out and to be able to see clearer because of it. What happens is if you have the feeling that your glasses are just dirty, it's not that. If you're old, I guess it's the beginning of a cataract. And I thought that carnivore could cure everything. And how do I know it didn't at least keep it at bay in this situation? It could have. And it could be a lot worse if I wasn't doing this. I think that's what we have to think about a lot of things. We've messed up our bodies so long and eaten so wrong that when it comes to healing, it's either going to take a while or it's going to at least keep it steady and not worsening over time. So there's your plus. And I can still see pretty well without glasses, which is really nice, except for up close. And the eye doctor is married to the receptionist lady. And she told me that if you have your cataracts taken off, anywhere from between a year, year and a half to 5, 10 years for some people, but closer to 5 is really what most people are like. The scar tissue can bend your lens, that new lens they put in, and you'll have to do it again. I know. I don't want people, I have a hard time putting eye drops in my eyes. I have to pull it out and then drop it in the little well there and then goosh it like this because the whole thought of somebody putting something in my eye like that, let alone contacts. I just wrote no with 4 exclamation marks at the question, would you ever consider contacts? I'm like, no, I don't want it floating down underneath here or whatever. God bless you, the people that can wear them, but I don't just want anything to do with it. I don't want anybody in my eyes, let alone things. Over the top, in the form of glasses, not a problem. Anyway, I don't really need them too much to see regular everyday stuff. I mean, it's like readers. Oh, and she also told me that you would still, even if you got your cataracts removed and you could see far, crystal clear, you would still need readers for close. So why? Anyway, there's that. And he's going to bump up the prescription on my right side just a hair to try to make life a little easier, balancing it out. Oh well. So I'm looking forward to new glasses. And then the second thing, which Sammy is the culprit, my ox bile experiment. I was good. I held up my end. I took an ox bile 125 milligram every night before I went to bed when my stomach was considerably not full and didn't see a difference. And here's probably why. Sammy. Well, we don't know how he did it, but on Tuesday morning, he was chewing at his foot a little. I did his nails, I don't cut them that deep. I cut just a little bit off each time because I'm too crazy and weird and worried about doing too much. And then I file them with a really coarse file. And Jim holds him. And fine, I could do that. He was a little irritated by the whole operation, a little more than normal, but not bad. And then all of a sudden, Wednesday, it was full on, take this paw over and the whole thing. And he was also scratching and he was doing this with his mouth, both directions. And so his little gums got inflamed too from scratching and rubbing. And then on Wednesday night, we woke up on Thursday actually, and suddenly his bum was all red too. And we're like, oh no, whatever it is, was an autoimmune reaction, we found out on Friday when we took him to his vet. And it just bloomed like you would not believe. And I felt like his face was a little warmer and that too. Well, all Thursday night going into Friday, because I knew we were going to go see the vet, I was on my knees praying and crying because, if you look back on my video of Carnivore for Canines, which is one of the first few that I did, you'll see the history of all of our dogs and how kibble ruined their lives, one form of kibble or another, until 3 of them in under a year had passed away. My heart was so broken, especially by the 3rd one, who died of aspiration pneumonia from a dental. To bring my dog to a veterinarian, almost as bad as bringing myself to a doctor, but worse, it was really hard for me because that's my baby and that's my son. I know it's weird, but that's the way it is. And I was really apprehensive and I was really trying to trust, and the fact that, it's always worked out, and you should believe that. And if you're a person of faith, you know that the best will be the outcome. And they did a series of tests. And here's the silver lining. His blood work was perfect. Now, back in Texas, when he had that dental, he had liver issues, according to their tests. When they did the senior blood panel, no liver problems at all. No white blood cell issue. Which, wouldn't you think, if he was like blooming in autoimmune problems and scratching his brains out, that would be a problem? Because that's when you send your army to cure stuff. Anyway, no problem with his red blood cells. No heart murmur. Remember from the last time we took him to the vet? Look what Carnivore has done for Sammy. But when things get too overwhelming, we all have issues. Now, my next thing, I'm going to research how to get a dog who's been on prednisone and been on antibiotics to have a better gut biome after all that crap we had to put in him in order to get everything to calm down. So if you know anything about that, let me know, and I'll be doing some research myself. But anyway, I was so worked up, I couldn't give you a good explanation that the Oxbio worked because nothing was good. I was very upset on my insides. So I'm going to have to do another week of every night before I go to bed as zero full of food as I can be, and then see how that helps. So thanks a lot for watching again, and I hope these updates will help you as well, or you learned something, because I'm always learning stuff. And isn't that great thing about Carnivore? We're always learning about what is specific to you and is specific to me. And it's so customized. It's the best elimination diet. You do that for 90 days. You put one thing back at a time that you just had to eat, that you just love so much, and find out what that just love so much item did to you all those years without you knowing, because just like with alcohol, you can get a tolerance for it, right? And how much do you rationalize having to have that thing that you don't really need? It's like, well, it's not going to hurt that much. Well, I gained some weight. Well, I might have to go back to the basics. Well, I'm starting to feel a little better. Well, yeah, I'm even losing a couple pounds. Yeah, I feel really good. It's funny how it just goes in its little thing to the truth. We keep listening. If you do videos on YouTube, watch what you have said when you went off the wagon and how you rationalized your way back and gave yourself a few excuses as to why you did what you did, because it wasn't that bad. And also how people treated you when you changed. Yeah, it's like an alcoholic who lost their best drinking buddy. No wonder you're so vile to them suddenly, because you're not playing the game anymore. You're not where they are. You're not, having all the social fun of the fun foods that everybody else does, that it's okay for everybody else. Well, everybody else looks like this, and you look like this, and you feel out of this world. So would you trade it? No. 10 minutes is coming up. That's all we have together. We'll We'll see you on the next one. Stay carnivore.